Most history books agree on one basic premise. The Great Pyramid of Giza was constructed strictly as the final resting place for a pharaoh. But look at the interior architecture, and that explanation falls apart. You find a labyrinth of steep, descending passages and 5 stacked relieving chambers built above the main room that serve absolutely no logical or funerary purpose. Intrigued? In the late 19th century, English archaeologist Flinders Petrie measured the king's chamber and found physical evidence of an extreme event. The massive granite walls had been pushed back 1 to 2 inches. The solid stone ceiling was cracked in several places and physically lifted 3 inches out of its original position. Inside that chamber sits a granite sarcophagus. Its edges aren't chipped by grave robbers. They are warped and broken as if they molted. Early explorers noted that the once red granite had turned a chocolate brown, which is exactly what happens when that stone is exposed to scorching, explosive heat. Warped granite, cracked ceilings, and outward structural expansion describe the aftermath of a massive industrial accident. This physical evidence suggests that the structure was built to contain a highly volatile process, functioning less like a tomb and more like a machine. To understand how this machine operated, we have to trace its assembly line. We start 100 meters below the bedrock, at the very lowest point. Down here is the subterranean chamber. Historians label it unfinished, but mining engineer John Cadman identified its specific layout as a hydraulic ram pump. By channeling water from the nearby Nile River down that steep, straight passage, the system utilized the water's immense pressure. It crashed into the chamber's intentionally flat ceiling in a continuous, rhythmically slamming cycle. Every time water slammed into that stone ceiling, it created a physical impulse. Cadman calculated that this constant drumming generated a low-frequency acoustic vibration of exactly 223 Hz. That steady sound wave traveled directly upward through the solid rock of the pyramid. Directly above that pump sits the completely isolated Queen's Chamber. When modern investigators analyzed the walls of this room, they found them coated in a thick, baked-on layer of salt and gypsum residue. Chemical analysis of that residue reveals traces of zinc chloride salts, the specific byproduct of mixing liquid zinc and hydrochloric acid. By funneling these chemicals down the separate northern and southern shafts, the builders transformed this chamber into a reaction vessel for producing volatile hydrogen gas. The lower half of the pyramid was the engine room. It supplied the 2 necessary raw materials for the structure above: mechanical kinetic energy from the water pump and a steady stream of hydrogen fuel from the chemical mixing room. Both the acoustic wave and the rising hydrogen gas funneled upward into the most cavernous space in the pyramid, the Grand Gallery. The Grand Gallery features a massive, sharply vaulted ceiling. Its specific dimensions allow it to function exactly like the hollow wooden body of a guitar. It catches the low-frequency pulses arriving from the water pump and aggressively amplifies them into a highly concentrated sonic wave. Amplified acoustic resonance carries massive physical power. It is the exact same natural force that caused the Tacoma Narrows Bridge to buckle and tear apart steel after catching the wind's specific frequency. The Grand Gallery directs that intense sonic wave straight into its final destination, the King's Chamber. Unlike the rest of the pyramid, this is a freestanding room constructed from 1,500 tons of granite, a type of stone containing up to 60% quartz crystal. When quartz is subjected to intense physical pressure or vibration, it experiences the piezoelectric effect. The amplified sound waves violently squeezed the quartz lattice within the granite walls, forcing the stone to generate massive electrical charges. At the same time, the hydrogen gas flowed into this electrically charged, vibrating room. By subjecting hydrogen atoms to focused electrical stimulation, the King's Chamber operated exactly like a modern maser, a machine that amplifies microwaves through the stimulated emission of radiation. The excited hydrogen electrons repeatedly jumped and fell in energy levels, releasing a highly concentrated beam of microwave energy. That beam was perfectly aligned to exit the chamber through the precisely angled southern shaft. The interior layout is too precise to be a series of architectural mistakes. The structure converts flowing water, chemical reactions, and acoustic resonance into a directed beam of microwave energy. To trace where that energy went, we have to look at the pyramid's exterior. Originally, the entire structure was encased in a perfectly smooth shell of white limestone. That outer cladding was sourced from a specific quarry because it completely lacked magnesium. This chemical absence makes the limestone a highly effective electrical insulator, trapping the massive voltage generated inside. The closest modern parallel to this technology belongs to inventor Nikola Tesla. In the early 20th century, Tesla proved he could achieve transmitting electrical power wirelessly through the air using highly charged frequencies. Tesla built the Wardenclyffe Tower to be the first node in a global power grid. The Great Pyramid, with its heavily insulated shell and directed microwave output, mirrors this design. It appears to be an ancient node built for an identical wireless power transmission grid. Even our language preserves a record of this function. The original Greek word pyramis, where we get pyramid, is a combination of pyra, meaning fire, and amis, meaning chamber, the fire chamber. A structure demonstrating this level of quantum chemistry and acoustic engineering demands that we update our historical baseline. We do not need to invent theories about aliens to explain the evidence. We simply have to acknowledge that the ancient Egyptians possessed a sophisticated grasp of applied physics. The Great Pyramid forces a total reassessment of human technological evolution. It remains an enduring masterwork of acoustics, chemistry, and quantum physics, built for power rather than burial.